So the beneficiaries would be more or less in the millions, Mr. President, in our country.
Well, in our
The
country,
direct one, direct. Is the contribution mandatory or voluntary, Mr. President?
it's mandatory.
And did I hear correctly the amount? $7,000?
Yes, that's correct. $7,325. That's the amount.
A year, okay.
That's
a
yearly
Yearly,
amount.
so
That's supposed to build up so that the fund will be $10 million. That's the excuse given. Minority
So
Leader.
parang the Philippine government is conducting or has been conducting extensive consultations dito. Have we encountered, as far as our committee is concerned or informed, have we encountered, what is the most serious or gravest objection or reservation that has been raised against this convention?
I think that actually there has been no serious objection because everything is favorable in terms of preferential treatment in all asking about. So perhaps as the sponsor of the Creative Industries Bill, we can get some help from our minority leader as well.
No, so ibig sabihin nun na our membership and accession to this convention will help us.
Yes, definitely.
Will help us now or add to the clarity of our focus.
To open the period of interpellation and recognize the distinguished sponsor of the measure, Senator Imee Marcos, the chairperson of the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, and to interpellate our minority leader, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel III. So move, Mr.
Our
President.
distinguished sponsor, the the chairperson of the Committee on Foreign Relations. I just got back from Prague, so I'm confused with my designations. And the minority floor leader, Senator Aquilino Coco Pimentel, is recognized, as well as Senator Imee Marcos, the sponsor.
Yes. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I'm happy to attempt to answer all the questions of our minority leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, and with the permission of our sponsor, if we can commence with our interpellation.
Thank you very much. We should, yes.
Yes, from the title itself, Mr. President, that this is the 2005 Convention on the Protection and Promotion of the Diversity of Cultural Expressions. We can already see the great importance of this convention, Mr. President. So therefore, I think we owe it to the people to tell them what we are entering into, what would be the obligations of our country, Mr. President. So may we know first of all, Mr. President, what is in layman's term, kung pwede,
Yeah, sure.
in layman's term, what is the primary objective of this convention, Mr. President?
Yes, primarily it is to protect cultural diversity and cultural industries in each country, particularly the vanishing cultures and indigenous communities. It also seeks a more equitable distribution by providing preferential treatment in developing countries, in addition to providing a fund. It is called the International Fund for Cultural Diversity to fund small projects in various developing countries.
So the beneficiaries would be more or less in the millions, Mr. President, in our country.
Well, in our
The
country,
direct one, direct
the
beneficiaries.
direct beneficiaries of the 10 million IFCD, which is the international fund, will be smaller amounts, but in fact, this 10 to 50,000 US dollars will be of great help to the vanishing cultures and cultural products. So we will be able to access funding to this upon ratifying, I'm sorry, because we signed this long ago.
I think the fund that our sponsor is referring to is found in Article 18, the International Fund for Cultural Diversity.
Yes, that is correct.
And this will be raised from the state parties to the convention.
Yes, that's right. There are very small donations being considered. The basic amount is $7,325 US dollars per member or per signatory in this case.
Okay. So the Philippines is itself going to be a contributor and then at the same time a potential beneficiary of the fund. Ganun
Yes,
po,
that's
ganun po
correct. We
mangyayari.
will contribute a little over $7,000, but we will be able to access this preferential funding being a developing country still. So I think it's to our benefit that we acquire international presence and wider market access. While we will be a contributor, we will download much more as a developing country with a wider scope of cultural expression.
Is the contribution mandatory or voluntary, Mr. President?
It's mandatory.
And did I hear correctly the amount? $7,000?
Yes, that's correct. $7,325. That's the amount.
A year, okay.
That's a yearly
Yearly,
amount.
also.
That's supposed to build up so that the fund will be $10 million in total, and then it starts rolling for the different projects.
And how many state parties are there to the convention?
At this point, I believe there are about, let me see now. It's been such a long time. I believe it's over 100 at this point.
State parties.
State parties.
And we have been delayed in ratifying and or concurring the ratification for more than 20 years. Tama po ba yan?
Yes,
More or less, more or
it's
less?
at 19 years.
19 years.
Yes, it's taken a very long time for us to ratify this. Don't kill the messenger, but I am the messenger. It was first considered for ratification in 2008, was only discussed in 2014 through an interagency organized by DFA. The process of securing concurrence from the different concerned agencies, kasi ang dami na nating cultural agencies, was affected by changes in administration and agency leadership. And then at a certain point, the list of agencies was further expanded because we have upwards of 64 cultural laws at this point. That's the excuse given. Minority
So
Leader.
parang the Philippine government is conducting or has been conducting extensive consultations dito. Have we encountered, as far as our committee is concerned or informed, have we encountered, what is the most serious or gravest objection or reservation that has been raised against this convention?
I think that actually there has been no serious objection because everything is favorable in terms of preferential treatment, in terms of market access, and in fact eligibility for the funding. The complaint, if it were a complaint, is merely that the policy direction of the Philippine government with regard to culture and the creative industries should be better defined. Even if we have 64 laws already talking about cultural product and expression, the overarching scheme is what they are all asking about. So perhaps as the sponsor of the Creative Industries Bill, we can get some help from our minority leader as well.
Na, so, ibig sabihin nun na our membership and accession to this convention will help us.
Yes, definitely.
Will help us now or add to the clarity of our focus.
Yes,
and
that is
purpose, Mr.
correct.
President.
That's certainly going to be the case because we should be guided by this convention. And even if we have all these cultural laws, indeed, the international standard will be well established.
Okay, so wala pa lang, at least it is of record that there is no serious objection, Mr. President. Okay, so Article 28 provides that upon becoming parties to this convention, each party shall designate a point of contact as referred to in Article 9. May we know the government agency which has already been or which will be designated as the point of contact for this convention?
The agreement is that NCCA should be said agency.
NCCA. So it will be NCCA. Sige. Apa. So, okay, so kung nyari, we will become a state party to this convention, okay, what would be our biggest obligations as a state party, Mr. President? And what, isabay ko na po yung next question ko, what would do we need to enact laws to flesh out our compliance with our obligations under the convention?
Well, I think, as stated during the hearing, our main obligation would be to actually enforce, implement, and most importantly, finance our cultural laws. We have a plethora of cultural laws, and yet the enforcement and implementation, for example, in the area of copyright, has been decried repeatedly. So this is a good direction to take because we can encompass, for example, a standalone copyright for indigenous material, given this convention.
Thank you for that idea. So one very specific legislation which, although siguro hindi naman siguro we are not, are we mandated to enact one or just advised to enact one to?
Well, we are not mandated, but given the direction that we should encourage cultural diversity, the protection of our vanishing cultures, and the prohibition of the exploitation of their cultural products will become more important. So we need to strengthen and, as it were, put teeth and budget to our cultural laws.
Okay, so at least po narinig po natin from our sponsor a very concrete idea to enact into law if we want our actions to be consistent with our commitments.
Yes,
Yeah,
that's
okay.
correct.
And then yearly we examine the government's budget yearly.
That's
so,
correct.
Yun lang, siguro to prioritize as well as put actual funding to programs, activities and projects which encourage, preserve these cultural expressions. Ganun ba?
That's
Ganun
correct,
bang gawin natin?
Minority Leader. In fact, the NCCA was very quick to respond and say that perhaps at the next budget, we should consider additional personnel because there are so few of them. And given the number of indigenous people registered here in the Philippines in the different islands, they'll be hard put to enforce what is contained in the convention.
Sige po, ito last question na lang po. Ito pong mga PAPs, PAPs, on cultural expression, most likely, saan agencies natin ito mahanap para matulungan na tayo sa budget process, hanapin na natin doon para matulungan po natin itong pag-implement natin ng convention na ito. So, the sponsor already mentioned the NCCA.
Yes, the
Or
NCCA.
Any other agencies that
well,
we should
there's quite a
take
few
note
of them. Definitely, as yourself authored, the DTI, because they have some money for the creative industries. Definitely, we will have the Cultural Center, the Design Center of the Philippines. We also have the National Historical Commission. We also have the NCIP. And there's quite a few of them
Okay.
that will be qualified because the listing for funding of the IFCD, music, cinema, and audiovisual, so FDCP would also qualify, performing arts, publishing, so many of our book boards would probably qualify, visual arts, digital arts, and all these sort of products will be covered by this fund.
So thank you for that, Mr. President. So if we really want to be a responsible member of the international community, we walk the talk.
That's right.
Yung commitments natin, i-comply po natin. So thank you for the inputs from our sponsor na pinpoint po niya yung mga ahensya ng gobyerno na bigyan natin ng special attention pagdating pag panahon ng budget process tungkol po rito sa Convention on the Protection and Promotion of the Diversity of Cultural Expressions. So thank you for the information coming from our sponsor, and congratulations, Madam Sponsor, for bringing this to our attention, acting on it after after a delay that it has been encountering. So congratulations, Madam, and thank you.
Congratulations, thank you very much for the assistance of our Minority Leader. Indeed, 19 years is a long time to wait, Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So hanggang dito lang tayo mga tol. Maraming salamat sa panonood at patuloy na suporta. God bless you sa inyo lahat at hanggang sa muli. Paalam.